Letting go of suppressed emotions was how I got my freedom, essentially from myself. As a backstory, in my childhood, in my adulthood, I've always been told that like emotions were not going to get me anywhere. I did not know the power of emotions up until last year because of the book Letting Go. I should have mentioned Letting Go by David Hawking ages ago on my channel rather than mentioning it now. Essentially, letting go is about releasing resistance to keep a box closed, right? So, this is a metaphor for your emotions, your suppressed emotions. What are you using to keep these boxes closed? How much energy are you using to just live your daily life and, escape, not have clarity, alcohol, sex, food? There's so many ways that people shut down emotions. And yes, some people could just be having, a good relationship with these things. But I'm on about the ones that you don't have a good relationship with. How much clarity do you have on your goals? How much clarity do you have on your purpose? If you haven't got this clarity, if you do overindulge in vices, then there is something that you are working against. There is something that you're trying to suppress. I'm on about unhealthy attachments to things right now. So, all that energy that you are using to suppress the suppressed emotion. Everybody wants to be around today. Okay, so yeah, how much energy are you using to keep these things in? And trust me, unless you're Jesus, unless you're not on this earth, we all have something that we're dealing with. So letting go is a very important process, even for those who are completely traumatized or for those just going about their day. And every day we feel something, and it's about transcending that emotion as quickly as possible, really. I mean, Jesus must have felt the lower emotions, right? But he managed to get himself to that love state quite quickly because he was able to let go. He practiced letting go many times. By the way, I'm just using Jesus as an example. I don't know if he actually did this. I'm assuming he did. If he was continuously in a love state, you have to deal with the emotions at the bottom to get to the top. It doesn't just happen from the top down. So, now, why do we have suppressed emotions in the first place? Suppressed emotions are subconscious. So this means that it could have been passed down from ancestors. It could have been something that you had to deal with in childhood through traumas. Yeah, so with suppressed emotions, because it's subconscious and you're not aware of it, this will usually show itself up in the body eventually, because it has to go somewhere. You have to pay for these suppressed emotions in some way. Hence why some people just have random like aches and start to develop things out of nowhere. It's an emotional energy that's being displayed in the body. So this is why energy healing and emotional releases and all those metaphysical healing things actually work, because emotions are energy in motion. So dealing with them releases any illnesses and any sabotaging things that's going on with suppressed emotions. Now, chakras get blocked, hence why you lose clarity, because clarity deals with the third eye, right? And the crown chakra. Actually, clarity is in every single chakra, but usually it comes from the third eye. The truth comes from the third eye. Your mission comes from the higher chakras, but it does not. You can't get it unless you deal with the lower chakras. And that means that if you have issues with your root chakra, which is instability, not being safe, if you have issues with your sacral, which is creativity and sexual traumas, if you have issues with your willpower, which is the solar plex, and that's all about, shame. Shame is a big deal. And it's like that last bit of hurdle that you have to deal with. Root, you can stabilize yourself, move away from danger. Your sacral, you can treat it, you can harmonize yourself and move with the flow. Shame at the solar plex, on the other hand, is it's a nice, difficult task to deal with before you can get to the heart. By the way, you can get to all these chakras in whatever order you want to, truly, because I worked on my heart before I got to my root. So, but in practice, I want to get I want to make this video short, so I'm going to get to the practice. With letting go now, this is probably something If you want to let go, you have to think of something that's resisting you. As in, what is it in your life that you're trying to manifest? By manifest, I just mean like bring into creation. Like, what do you want? And why don't you have it? Why you don't have it could be linked to a suppressed emotion. If you don't have a specific emotion that you want to deal with right now, think of something that you want and then think about why you don't have it, or why you think or believe you can't get it. I'm on about for those that just want something and can't seem to attain it. I'm not on about people that want something and they're working towards it and they're doing great. Good for you. What about those who can't? Okay, because I was one of them. I was the person that I just couldn't understand why I had to continuously chase a relationship. Yeah, okay, they're coming to me, but once I've got them, it's like I have to prove my love, otherwise they won't stay. And that was a childhood thing. It was because I consistently had to be moving. I was always on the go and with different carers all the time. So for me, it was like I have to continuously prove that my love is around for me to be safe. I have to prove that I love this new person because my old person is gone, so I have to attach to this person quickly, otherwise I'm in danger, blah, blah, blah. Just as an example, which meant that all my relationships were basically at a disadvantage until I can let go of feeling like my love, my safety depends on how much I love the other person and how much I show it, etc., etc. So what did I do in practice? I wrote everything down on when I felt like I had to prove my love unlovable. Everything you can imagine, I wrote it down on an A3 piece of paper, going back all the way into my childhood, which is basically finding everything in your life that's made you feel like you're unlovable, you have to chase love, or whatever. Every single thing. Make sure you have time for this. And I know this is going to be difficult for majority of us. I was just lucky enough. The universe just put me in the right place, right time, and I had 5 days off. I was just destroyed. I was distraught. I was like, right, well, it's not like I can use my brain. I was shut down. It wasn't going to work. I was going through so much that like the brain was just not really doing anything for me. I had no choice but to deal with these emotions. Sat there the first day and wrote all of that down, and you're going to cry. You're going to cry for hours. Not hours, days. So the practice goes like this. You feel an emotion. What's the blockage? And then you need to get to the core, which is the A3 piece of paper, the writing activity. Get to the core, write everything down. Write everything down that you feel like has contributed to you feeling unlovable. You start off with the surface of the iceberg, which is like, oh, this relationship made me feel like this. Oh, but this person did this. I had to do this. And then eventually it's going to go to, but my parents did do this, or at this point in my childhood this happened, I got bullied or whatever. And then eventually it's going to go even deeper into early years of your childhood. And then just you're going to notice small things that happened when you were a kid that impacted you. And one really good thing about this exercise is that the more you point at your suppressed emotions, the more you point at a core emotion like shame, like guilt, like pure abandonment, the more of it feels free to come out. So the more I did letting go practices back last year, the more I was being aware of all the different things that impacted me that I had no blooming clue about. So for those of you that can't remember much from childhood, just be patient. It's only because it's genuinely unsafe for him to come out right now, and that you kind of need to prove to your body that, yeah, I can. And one thing I'm going to say to you guys now is just believe in yourself. Like, that's the end of it all. Just believe you can, and you will. So as you do this activity, once you've got it down on an A3 piece of paper, like I said, it's going to be hard to find this time, but just try and dedicate at least 5 days to this. You won't need the whole 5 days, but dedicate 5 days and just grieve every single thing on there. Trust me, you're going to start grieving while you start writing anyway. But this is a great way to release the emotions and purge without any plant medicine. I am all about plant medicine, and I think plant medicine can do this for you a lot quicker. But not all of us have access to plant medicine. In the UK, we don't have access to it. Like, okay, I know, actually, just saying holistically, there's not that much guidance around plant medicine in the UK. I'm not on about recreational. You can get these things by yourself and do them, but my point is, if you don't have the money for plant medicine or access to plant medicine, this is a great way of doing it. Dedicate a few days off and then write everything that makes you feel so shitty about yourself. And you have the time, and you are allowed to victimize yourself as much as possible. This is the only time where you get to really hear your child self. This is the only time where you actually get to hold yourself, and you have to be that person. In the beginning, you're going to feel like, yeah, I'm such a shitty person. I don't even know why I'm here. Like, what is the point on this earth? Blah, 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 blah. Everything's going to come out. Every shitty little feeling's going to come out. And yeah, you will get pretty low. You will get so, so low to the point where you don't even eat. You don't even bother to put the light on. It's dark. And you don't care. You might not shower. And it's going to get very, very raw, you know? But you're going to realize something. At the end of the second day, third day, the further you grieve, I do recommend 5 days, 3 to 5 days. But at the end of third day, for me, as it was, I started hearing a voice. It was my own voice. It was my own voice. And this voice was starting to tell me, actually, it's not that bad. Not that it's not that bad, but it was like, but look at you. Like, you've gone past it. Like, what else? What can't you do now? Like, you've gone through all of that. You're grieving it. You basically get this person, you kind of give birth to a version of you that's so supportive and loving. Self-love literally originates from you grieving and then being that backhand, like giving yourself the support on your back. And then at the end, you have this new thought process, even though you've just gone through the most horrific experience, just grieving every single thing that's happened to you in your life. That's made you feel that core emotion. Remember, we have more than one core emotion. So I did end up doing this about 2 times. I got tired. And I just didn't feel like I needed to do any more. But I grieved love and willpower. Those were the 2 things that really halted me at the time. So I haven't felt like I needed to do any more. By love, I did abandonment issues, because that's basically what love really stems down to. Is actually a lot of our problems stem down to abandonment issues. Forgot what's his name? Rob Ross, I think. I don't know. Anyway, he talks about it. But that's the practice. Is basically notice it. If you can't notice it, which I'm not surprised, I couldn't fucking notice it. So what I did was, at the time, my issue was I can't get myself to do shit anymore. Like, I need to get up and do stuff. And it just wasn't working. And then I felt so alone. So I identified the emotion. The emotion was love. I don't have any love around me. Why? Got that A3 piece of paper, cried for 3 days. End of 3 days. It was such a spiritual thing that I experienced because I wasn't eating. I didn't have no light. It was almost like I couldn't see anything. And by the way, don't distract yourself in any way during this. No books, no nothing. You laying down on a bed, you can sleep, but that's all you're allowed. That's all you're allowed to do. You can eat, by the way, but trust me, you're not gonna want to eat. You're gonna feel so shitty. Like, it's gonna be a grieving. You're gonna be grieving everything that you needed but never got as a kid. So, it's heavy. It's very, very heavy. But I'm smiling because, God, how good that was after. God, how good does it feel to know that you don't have to keep these things in a box anymore. And after the 3 days, I went outside. I remember I was like, okay, eventually you're going to get tired of just being sad. Remember, a crying session literally does not last more than 20 minutes. Purging something doesn't last longer than 20 minutes. But you're going to always find something new. Hence why the A3 piece of paper is so important, because you are trying to grieve as much as possible. You're trying to purge as much as possible, any little emotion. And you will feel it. It's going to be this rock heavy blackness wherever your blockage is. Your stomach, your heart, anywhere. And eventually I got tired. I was like, meditation also is very important for this, by the way. Please meditate. If you're going to do anything, I'm going to allow you to meditate. Not me, but you should be able to meditate without any guided meditations, because you're going to be so in your emotions, you won't really need to be guided, but you can do guided if you want to. The goal is, by the end of this, you would have felt all the horrible emotions, all the core emotions that now you start to transcend them. Now you move up the list. You go from grief to acceptance to, well, eventually you start, acceptance. And then you go to just being okay with what you have and being okay to move on. And then eventually you feel love for yourself and love for everybody involved in the horrific trauma that you experienced. You don't need to feel love for them, but like, you will get to a point where you didn't think you would get to by the end. And I remember stepping out and I felt so much ecstasy. It was like, it was literally brain ecstasy. Like, I went outside, I was looking at a car, I was looking at people, and I was like, God damn, you guys are so beautiful. Like, you are me and I'm you. Like, there's nothing to worry about here. So it's a great practice. It's a dangerous one. You have to let people know, not people, you have to let somebody know that you are doing this, only because at some points you're going to feel so shitty that, like, it can get, a bit hysterical. So you do have to have a bit of emotional maturity, because if you don't, this can get out of hand quick and you can find yourself doing crazy things. So don't, by crazy things I mean, like, I hope that your guys can be there for you at the time as well, and they will be. This is not an easy thing. But yeah, it's healing. This is a healing practice. And with repressed emotions, so suppressed emotions are subconscious ones. With repressed emotions, these are emotions that you deal with every day. So let's say somebody breaks up with you. This is not a suppressed emotion just yet, because it's not been something that has been hardwired to stay inside. Unless it triggers something that's suppressed. Maybe breaking up with somebody's not a good idea. Let's say you just, I don't know, you dropped something and you're obsessed. You're upset. Maybe you didn't get the grade you wanted or whatever. You're upset. And letting go here is like, you actually feel upset. Like, don't just be like, oh, it's fine. Like, I'm fine. Yeah, I'm good. Like, that's not gonna, unless, like I said, you've practiced letting go so much to the point where you feel like that accelerates. You descending to ascend accelerates. And it gets to a point where you're just doing it so much that, like, you can do it a lot faster. And you understand how much it's impacted you, but you can do it faster. But there's a difference to when people just repress it straight away, which is like, you feel something and you're like, just completely, you're like, that doesn't matter, like, I don't need to, there's so many bugs. You feel something and you're just like completely not letting it go. You feel upset and you're not dealing with it. You drop something, you're upset, but you act like it's nothing and you carry on. That's probably not a good idea. Let's say somebody makes you upset or something that they said. Instead of you using the process of letting go to feel what actually was not triggered, what boundary was touched, what boundary was crossed. Yeah, that's a good one. So, especially with needs as well, like, what needs was crossed? Like, what need is not met from the situation that's upsetting me? And you grieve it, right? So even though it could be the smallest things, you being sensitive to emotions is not a bad thing. It's actually such a good thing, because that means once you learn how to let go, you feel so sensitive to the higher vibrations that, oh my God, your life will just transform like no tomorrow. I've always found myself quite like, I've always been an emotional person, hence why, like, as a kid and as like a teenager, when I learned to just repress and suppress my emotions, it was like I was dulling my powers down, because I couldn't feel the higher vibrations very well, and I couldn't feel the lower vibrations very well. All I was doing was just like cutting them out and just going blindfolded. I can't. But my point is, guys, like, there's power in emotions, and the power in these emotions is like crystals. It's like a catalyst. It speeds shit up. So don't look at your emotions and your sensitivity to emotions as a bad thing. Yes, you not knowing the power of them is traumatic, straight up. This is why letting go is so important. Because if you can let go of the lower frequencies, if you can acknowledge the lower frequencies, the core emotions that are being triggered, then you can experience the higher ones and manifest anything you want, because you are a light bulb. You are a powerful light bulb. In my case, as soon as I learned how to just listen to my emotions, deal with my emotions and use their power to emit love vibration, and my life has just changed. So I don't know, like, I'm just trying to help. That process though is really good. I don't know how clear this was. I hope it was clear. I'm probably gonna make more about this, only because there's actually more to it. Like there's just so much more. There's the chakra systems and like them being blocked and what that looks like. There's the fact that all trauma really comes down to abandonment. All that. There's so much to it. I hope this was helpful. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, let go. And I've told you how to let go now. You let go by dealing with the emotion, not by just telling it to go. You deal with it. You feel shitty. You can't be amazing without having the lower you can't get to this state of love without being unloved first, like without feeling like you didn't have it, right? So when people are talking about letting go, it's not about completely ignoring things. It's about dealing with the emotion that's making you want to let go, right? There's so much to it, but guys, please, please, please just deal with your lower negative frequencies. And it's okay to be upset. It's so okay. And one good thing is, a lot more of your suppressed emotions will come out after doing this. And you'll be able to do letting go so much quicker. You won't need 5 days. You won't need 3 days. You won't need 2 days. You might just need 1 day. The more you do this practice, the quicker it gets. Hence why some people can actually stay in the love frequency for so long, is because they've just gotten so good at ascending from the lower frequencies continuously. So it's great. Lots of love, lots of light. I will catch you on another video.